Why pin this murder? Why you?
I don't know how it happened, but it happened.
What happened to Jamie Snow is he was sentenced to hell for a murder he claims he didn't do. A life sentence, not only for him, but his entire family.
No matter how things work out with me, I hope you always remember you have had a dad who loved you always.
How do you think it was so easy for them to do this?
There's no evidence, there's no DNA, there's nothing that actually put him at the crime except for testimony from other people that either got deals or have recanted. So it doesn't make any sense.
In the 17 years Jamie's been incarcerated, he says the case against him has completely unraveled.
What's that evidence?
A good portion of these people have given affidavits now and admitted that their testimony was false.
Jamie and his family are not the only ones claiming he was framed. The Exoneration Project wants him out too.
I defy anybody to meet Jamie Snow and conclude this guy had anything to do with the crime.
In fact, more than 6 of the state's key witnesses against Jamie Snow have now recanted their testimony. The prosecution's prison informants failed polygraph tests, and Jamie's attorney has since been disbarred for unethical behavior.
It's just obvious that the man's innocent.
The Exoneration Project believes police and prosecutors were so desperate to close the Billy Little murder case that they paid off people to implicate Jamie. And now a shocking video has surfaced that just may prove Jamie was indeed a scapegoat.
Part of the state's strategy in this case was to get somebody to flip on Jamie Snow. And so they tried a woman named Susan Claycomb.
Susan Claycomb was Jamie's sister-in-law.
Tell me about Susan.
She is probably one of the strongest women I've ever met in my life. I mean, they destroyed her life.
In the days following Jamie's arrest for the murder of 18-year-old Billy Little, Bloomington police charged Susan with murder, saying she drove the getaway car.
One day they called her down to the state's attorney's office and said, you know, today's the day. You know, if you don't agree to testify against Jamie, you got to go back to jail. And she was like, well, you know, I need to go home and, you know, kiss my kids goodbye and everything. They're like, no.
Prosecutors decided to try Susan first for murder. But according to attorney Lovey, just days before her trial, they made Susan an offer they thought she couldn't refuse. But she did.
Susan was facing the rest of her life in prison, and she stuck to her guns. Strong woman.
Turns out she didn't need a deal. Susan's attorneys picked apart the witnesses' testimony, and she was acquitted. Most of them were the same witnesses that would eventually help convict Jamie of murder. The state will not confirm or deny an offer, but in this parking lot confession shortly before Susan died, she says they offered her probation.
Were you offered any deals, any plea deals to testify against Jamie?
The deal that I was offered, and that I recall being offered, the state said if I could say that I drove the car to convict Jamie to testify in his trial, that then I could go home on probation.
Okay. And you refused that deal?
Yes, most definitely.
Jamie says this tape proves cops targeted him, and then prosecutors came up with a plan to convict him. But there is another piece of physical evidence Jamie's pinning his hopes on. DNA evidence that the Exoneration Project claims was never tested.
There's forensic evidence at the scene that can give us the answer to what really happened. And what's frustrating to me is that, for whatever reason, the people that are in charge of this case don't want to know the truth.
If you're the prosecutor and you believe that I committed this crime, there's not a doubt in your mind, I did it. Why would you not want to test the DNA?
When you convict somebody, there's not supposed to be any reasonable doubt. And there's a lot of reasonable doubt in this case.
So far, 60,000 people have signed a petition to test the DNA, but McLean County prosecutors have not yet re-examined the evidence. They still believe they got Billy Little's killer behind bars.
State's attorney's stance is what?
They don't want further investigation into Jamie Snow's case. And why that is, I can't say. But we've told the McLean County State's Attorney's Office, we're willing to pay for this testing. It won't cost taxpayers in McLean County a dime. We want to do it because we believe in Jamie and we want to know the truth.
Until then, Jamie sits and waits for justice.
Do you think your father will walk out of prison?
I believe so. He has so many supporters. He has so many people that believe in his innocence, and we're not going to stop fighting until he does.
Yes, I know the saying, everybody says all inmates say they're innocent. Sometimes it's true.
Keep the faith
I am keeping the faith. I absolutely have faith.
and hope.
And hope.
Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think Jamie deserves a new trial? Sound off right now on our Twitter and our Facebook page.